One. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Pearson, and I'm one of the board members of PISOC. And we have Ashleigh Gordon here today speaking about preparation for audition workshop or for auditions for collegiate music programs. Ashleigh, thank you so much for joining us. And could you just tell a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure, yeah. I am a violist. I currently live in Boston. I came to Boston to do my first master's at the New England Conservatory of Music some years ago. Prior to that, I was a violinist, so I'm a converted violist, and had studied at Baldwin Wallace College in the Cleveland area. After my time at New England Conservatory, I ended up doing a year long intensive program in Germany with Ensemble Modern to study contemporary music to get my second master's in contemporary music. After that time, I moved back to Boston, have been an educator for almost 2 decades now at this point, as well as a freelance performer in the New England area throughout the country and doing some international work as well. And I am a recently joined faculty member at the Longy School of Music in Cambridge.
Great, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So one of the items you wanted to speak about today was performance anxiety.
Mm.
Can you tell us more about that and then strategies on how to not let it get the best of you in performance situations?
Sure. Yeah. I think performance anxiety is something that we all will experience, and it can be on a continuum of very paralyzing stage fright, where physically and um, mentally we feel outside of our body, we feel outside of our own control. It can affect our focus, again, also on a continuum where we literally blank out, which is something that has happened to me in a college audition. I couldn't remember my memorized piece. It can very much affect our sense of confidence, our self esteem. It may take our focus outside of the months and years of delicate work that we've already practiced and refined. So our sense of focus is really distracted. And again, it can be on a continuum of extreme to very light. There's certainly physical reactions as it relates to breath, maybe a shortness of breath, maybe having a dry mouth, which as a singer and a woodwind player can certainly very much affect you. Um, you may feel increased heartbeat, shaking hands, and certainly as a violist and needing to have fine control over your digits can certainly be an unsettling feeling. It can be extreme with feeling nauseous, having butterflies in your stomach, not being able to see. Again, all on a continuum. And I think it's important to recognize that it's normal. We all feel that to some extent, and it's a physical, often a physical reaction. So if we can prepare for a physical reaction, um, as well as mentally figure out what we can focus on if we are feeling distracted, um, how we can come back to ourselves, to what we feel like in a non-performance high anxiety moment. That preparation, well before we even get to the moment of my hands are shaking, I think can be very beneficial. So one, it's about an awareness of what happens to you physically. For me, as I said, my hands start to shake. So I one of the first things I do is I grab my bow and I feel the strength of my hands. And I warm my hands, I warm my fingers and my digits, which often get cold. I'll run them under hot water, knowing that this is important for me and this is the first thing to go. I spend a lot of time and a lot of care here. I think for all of us, understanding how anxiety, how stress, how nervousness manifests in our body is point number one to be able to figure out, okay, how can I prepare for that? Um, Speaking of the preparation, I can talk a little bit more about some of that long-term preparation. I think um, to get to that moment where we can feel confident and recognize that yes, my hands are shaking, but and I know how to deal with it. So um, first thing I think way beyond the January 15th audition or whenever your audition may be is to really practice and practice a number of things. So one, practicing your music, right? So that it is almost second nature for you. Knowing the fact that there may be temperature day of beyond your control, there may be timing day of beyond your control, there may be a string that breaks, there may be something that happens to distract you, but you can rely on the fact that you know the music. So really practice and have good solid foundation and understanding of what it is that you want to express. If things are memorized, really practice refining how to memorize. There's physical memory that you can rely on. There's oral memory that you can rely on, an understanding of the organization of the piece, something called, oh, I'm going to blank on the name, but a visualization where you assign the first phrase and the second section to different rooms of the house, building a map. There's fancier name of calling it, and I'm totally blanking on it. But being able to identify a visual image of the structure of your piece, so that you're able to, when in doubt, rely on that, or rely onto the physical, or rely onto the oral. But you have many layers in your preparation for memory. Another thing for practice is to practice being positive, which I know sounds maybe a little bit strange, but having something like a mantra or a saying that you practice to the point where it's habitual, like tying your shoes, where when you take out your instrument or you're in the practice room doing vocal warm-ups or whatever your case may be, you have an intention that is built into your practice. So before you even do your scales and warm-ups, before you get to your piece, there's a moment of centering, and that's built into your practice. So it doesn't seem strange day of when someone says, okay, now breathe and do some mental relaxation exercises and think of some visualizations. That shouldn't be a foreign concept the day of the audition, but something that you've already built into your practice routine. So for me, my mantra is that I will play beautifully and expressively because I'm a beautiful and expressive person. And the more that I say that, the months and the years prior to the audition, I have maybe tricked myself into really feeling that that is true. And it is part of my routine, just like brushing my teeth. So it is, again, something that is foundational, just like the physical technique that I may have with practicing. And speaking of that, sort of building a routine, really developing a routine. When we think of athletes, there is a certain regularity to the timing of when they practice. There's a regularity to the number of repetitions that they might do. Thinking of sort of day of, and really replicating day of weeks before and months before, listening to the same soundtrack before they play, 10 minutes before they play, that kind of thing, having a certain meal in the mornings or a certain meal in the evening prior, so that there's a habitual nature that doesn't seem odd when lights and cameras and people are listening and other things externally have changed. So as much as we can replicate and build a routine that includes mental preparation, that includes physical preparation, that includes perhaps breathing and stretching, I think that the more we can feel comfortable in a situation that is pressurized, like in an audition. everything I think related to sleeping, which is maybe something, especially for college auditions. Being a college student, I didn't necessarily value my sleep as much as I probably should have, or eating a balanced meal as probably I should have. But the more that we can embrace that, so that again, it doesn't seem like day of I'm doing something new, but I've really built up a good habit, a good routine. And then speaking a little bit about that too, about developing good habits and good routines, I think really you have to take care of yourself. And this is again way before you step into that audition room, or probably now at this time making your audition tape or in a Zoom virtual audition. And that really has to, I think taking care of yourself has to do with mentally taking care of yourself. Again, those mantras, positive thinking, positive imagining, uh, months before imagining what success looks like for you, what that feels like for you, what that sounds like for you, what's the stimulus that you get from whoever is in the Zoom box with
Mhm.
you. What does that look like, and make it tangible? Um, I think it also has to do with physical strength. So much about what we do is a physical art as musicians. So exercise. Make sure that you have stamina. And with exercise, there's so much mental discipline that's there to push yourself further, to have an immediate goal, to um, all sorts of things. So exercise is about physical and mental strength building, which we obviously need physical and mental strength when we audition, way before we step into the audition room. And then things also for our body and for our mental strength, relaxation like meditation, yoga, tai chi, making that part of your habit, breathing exercises, understanding your body, understanding where tension is held in your body and how you can release that takes so much time that you can't think about that so much in the moment of an audition, but you can really build awareness and build habits well before you step into the audition room.
That's amazing, especially the ritual aspect.
Rituals, yes.
Yeah, that ritual aspect. I find that there. I guess I don't realize that I found them along the way, and
Mm-hmm.
then when I ask younger students about their ritual prior to performance, they don't. What are you talking about?
I don't think, and it's been some time since I was a student, but I don't remember having necessarily that conversation,
Mhm.
and certainly not having that conversation on par with the learning your piece preparation, right? Everything that's involved with practicing and practicing performing, right, in studio classes and things like this. But the sort of mental, we're going to take time today and talk about and learn and do, and what are your five things that you will always say and do before you enter a practice room, because you're practicing in a practice room to perform. So that conversation, that sort of connection, I don't remember having, but very much found it valuable, and quickly had to realize how valuable it was when auditions start coming. So the more you're at an advantage, I guess I'll say,
Mhm.
if you can embrace that fact sooner.
Beforehand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you speak about this mental and physical preparation? It's the week before your first audition of the season, the day before, the day of,
Mm-hmm.
and what that looks like and what that feels like and how you can better set yourself up for success.
Sure, yeah. I think so much of that has to do with visual, making sure that you can feel comfortable, you can see yourself being comfortable. So you may have um, most likely more than one school that you're auditioning to, if I were to guess.
Mhm.
So each school is going to be different. So I think it's important to imagine yourself in each one of those situations. It may be a Zoom box, but it may look different. So if you can do anything to sort of project, okay, I know it's going to be one person, I know it's going to be these faculty members, if you have that information, What does that look like? Am I going to be surprised? How can I make myself comfortable in that situation? If you're doing a recording, um, trying to make sure that you have, again, your routine the day of, and sort of the months prior, that's a regularity that you have. um, Understanding that you have time. It may feel like a second takes minutes, but you have time to be able to close your eyes, to be able to inhale deeply, to be able to exhale deeply, to be able to play when you feel comfortable. No one is going to rush you. No one's going to say, you know what, 3 seconds, I can't afford you 3 seconds. But those 3 seconds may be all that you need to just center yourself and have a moment. And so seeing yourself doing that, seeing yourself just stand poised, and being calm, playing when you are ready, feeling your feet grounded. All of that, I think you can imagine in each different Zoom box, in each different recording, in each different. So feeling yourself comfortable, I think, is really hugely important. I think also, before you get into those situations, again, the mental aspect of what will I say to myself? Um, will I what kind of positive things can I reinforce to myself? I think all of that is very, very important. Thinking a little bit closer to sort of the moments leading up to the audition. I would, leading up to, and then when you're in the audition, I guess I would try to identify for yourself, hopefully not in the moment, but identify for yourself a focal point. And the focal point could very well be your feet, feeling your feet on the ground. And that's just what you're going to give 3 seconds to, and make sure that, when you have a rest, when you take your next inhalation, you're just going to check in with your feet. It helps keep you grounded. It helps, even if you feel your heart racing, your energy, your whole entire focus is on your feet, on something that's not your heart racing, not your hands shaking, but it's on the strength of your knees. It's on the feeling that you have your hips to rest on, or your diaphragm is just big and open, and or whatever it may be, but you have a focal point. So identify that for yourself, and more importantly, reinforce it for yourself when you can, in the moment, and certainly, the moments leading up to when you step into that audition room. So focus. I think definitely leading up to, if it's in your routine practice, to do breathing exercises, trying to, again, calm yourself. We know that we'll get nervous in some way, shape, or form, and hopefully by this point you know how that manifests into your body. So acknowledge it. It's not maybe going to go away, but you've at least developed a practice now of understanding that this happens. So I'm going to make sure that I feel strength in my hand, and until this feels solid, and I recognize that this is solid, then I have a better chance of moving forward. I also like to think about, in the moment that I'm playing a trio, even if it's solo Bach or something like this, but I'm playing a trio, and the trio is with the music, with my body, so my feet and my hips and my shoulders, my neck, and it's also with my breath. So I am pretty intentional about exhaling, about giving a deep inhalation, and being mindful of my breath. That's already enough to think about. I don't have time to think about my heart racing and time to think about my knees shaking. That's already a lot to focus on. Um, and the more that I can develop that, again, those days and weeks and months prior, the easier it is for me to slip into that in those kinds of situations. I definitely would suggest stretching. I know for me, it's really helpful. Even though I'm up here with viola, it's really helpful for me to stretch my legs, just because it gets blood flowing, right? And it helps me feel more, aware of my physical presence, that I physically take up space. It's not me here behind this little Zoom box, but it's me here, and I can feel that energy. So I would definitely, suggest stretching. Also, um, being as normal as possible. An audition seems like um, a huge deal, and it is, right? But it's on a normal day. It's going to be on a Monday or a Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and Monday, Tuesday at 10 o'clock, you might be doing something else normal. I don't know, having a meal, but in any case, treat it like it's a normal day. You've prepared for it, so it should be something that's in your normal bag of tricks. Um, the more we start thinking of this is an exceptional moment, this is different than what I've ever experienced before, then we start getting the nervousness and we start feeling I don't know how to manage this. But it's another performance, and you've performed a million times at this point, right? It's another opportunity to stretch, another opportunity to breathe, another opportunity to smile at another human being that you see in a Zoom box, or that you see your reflection in a recording. Smiling releases endorphins, right? It's another opportunity to be yourself. And the more we can see it as being a normal extension of our practice. We've practiced performing, and this is another performance, um, where we are going to allow ourselves grace when we make a mistake, because mistakes happen. And we're going to allow ourselves to be um, normal. I think the mental shift, the mental perspective, is so hugely important, because that really does extend into how we physically um, react. So for me, it's physical and mental, as I said, and all of that really happening as a practice, as part of your practice, that kind of routine or ritual, as you say. And then hopefully that's strong enough for you to be able to rely on as a foundation when you do step into that um, audition situation. Most likely, I think there'll be late December, January, February ish, probably at around this time. So that's weeks for you to still be able to, if it's not in your practice already, identify maybe two or three things that you can do. One of which is maybe stretching, developing your own mantra. Again, mine is to play beautifully and expressively, because I am beautiful and expressive. And another could be breathing, closing your eyes, and one deep inhalation, one deep exhalation. Um, that I think could already, if that's not in your practice, already be a help as an anchoring point. And then be honest with yourself, like with every performance that you have. How did that work in reflection? So we definitely figure the performance, and zone in on every mistake, every error, and how that can be better for next time. I think the same goes with our preparation. What didn't what can I improve? I guess I'll say. What can I add? Do I need, instead of 10 minutes before, do I need 20 minutes as a warm up to really center myself? Um, it was cold. Do I need to bring a sweater next time? The audition wasn't at the time, it got pushed back. I didn't have a snack. I was really hungry. Do I need to eat something really larger before I go and make sure that I have a snack? Do I have water with me? I don't think I had enough time to really stretch and warm my hands, so let me put that in for the next one, and treat it like any other practice, one that is developing, one that is to be improved upon, right? That's why we practice. And the same with our preparation, just acknowledging that that is a huge part of our performance, is how we prepare in those kinds of ways, and it's a constant development.
What are your thoughts if you're not auditioning in your hometown? You've had to travel somewhere. Maybe you stayed in a hotel the night before. Um, should you do some of these rituals before you leave the hotel, or should
Yeah,
you wait until you get to the site
sure. No,
and do them, or do them again? Or
yeah. I think that's a great question. I would suggest it could be both. And I'll say it could be both because it's part of your visualization, it's part of your plan. So if you visualized yourself getting to your hotel, hopefully, if I don't know if you drove or something like this, hopefully it's approximately on time, but you told yourself, before I go to bed, I'm going to lie in bed for 10 minutes and imagine myself tomorrow walking into my audition. I'm wearing this outfit. I've gotten there 45 minutes before. I have this space where I know I can warm up, and this is my warm up routine. Um, Great. That could be part of your night before in the hotel room, which is one that you haven't been in before, but you want to familiarize yourself. You want to make yourself comfortable in this space. How are you going to do it? What's part of your preparation plan? And then, in the actual audition, the day of, maybe your routine or what you've told yourself as part of your preparation is to get there at a certain time so that you have this much time to stretch, that you familiarize yourself with, okay, where's the bathroom, because I know I'm going to need it half an hour beforehand, and where's the water fountain because I have to fill my bottle. But you allow yourself that moment, and having a quiet space to perhaps close your eyes and do some breathing exercises. I feel no shame to just go in a corner and do a down dog and do my stretching routine because I need that. So just yes, and just making sure that you have a plan before you even get in the car to get to the hotel, before you take that plane, if you are flying at this time. What you will do. Yeah.
Did we cover everything that you wanted to share?
I I think I think so. I know it seems like a lot, and this is, for me, this is years. I won't say how many decades, but
Yeah,
this
I
is this is years
understand.
of development. It's not something that sort of overnight, it's one and done, and you're good. But I think it's definitely something. If it's not in your practice, to practice your preparation, adding just one or two things to your routine between now and your auditions in the next few months, and just try it, see what happens. I think really with the heart of this, the idea is to try to find something that is very tailored to you, in the same way that performing a Beethoven piano sonata or a Mendelssohn violin concerto or Bartok or whatever your piece may be. There's a uniqueness of you being in that piece, right? And you have learned and prepared, but it's you that is being the expressive agent. The same way for this kind of preparation, there's a million techniques that you can do, and it's up to really you and your reflection to find a technique, to find a bag of tricks that really is catered to you, that makes you feel the most empowered. So it's not formulaic, but it definitely can start with some exploration, some trials and failures, perhaps, and talking to other people, tuning into something like this, asking a friend, "Hey, what do you do? What is your routine? You seem super calm. How do you deal with this racing heart thing? How do you deal with the dry throat? Do you have tips and tricks?" So I think having that conversation, having that intentionality, and also that reflective point, similar to performing, getting criticism, taking that in, performing again. Same with this aspect of preparation, but it's a muscle to work on and develop for yourself over time.
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate your time and sharing all that you know about performance anxiety and preparation. And we look forward to having you again in the near future.
Yeah, sure. And best of luck to everyone out there with your auditions. I know it's an exceptionally crazy time right now, and know that who is on the other end of that audition knows that this is an exceptionally crazy time. So the added amount of pressure and stress, you can get rid of that a little bit, because everyone knows that this is a crazy time period. So allow yourself grace, allow yourself um, space to be the best that you can possibly be during the most strangest time that we're in right now.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Sure, my pleasure. Thank you. Good luck.